Anthem was one of those games that seemed to promise the world in a handbasket. The storytelling greatness of BioWare combined with a massive shared world experience that we would enjoy year after year after year. This is an idea that Electronic Arts got behind fairly easily. It's a very make the suits happy kind of pitch. The challenge, in my opinion, was making everyone else convinced. Outside of the development issues that occurred, you had a studio whose primary focus have been single-player action-adventure RPGs. And you also have the audience that BioWare has built with those games. Was this project understood well by the dev team? Was the current audience going to translate well into this new IP? Will the gamble of bringing a new audience for this IP going to alienate the one already established? Is the continued development of this project going to impact the development of other projects and vice versa? There are many factors beyond the studio itself that led to Anthem eventually being abandoned not long after its release. That said, just because the studio and almost everyone else under the sun left Anthem years ago, that doesn't mean there aren't people still enjoying this game, or was still enjoying this game. And it's not hard to see why. The gameplay. At the core of Anthem, there was solid and fun gameplay. Flying around and shooting targets was and will likely always be a fun experience. Combine that with other people and you're down to have a great time. For me personally, it fulfilled this Iron Man fantasy. Climbing into your javelin and flying through the sky will always be satisfying to me. In free play, there are these time challenges you can play through. I used to hunt those down. And there are 4 different types of javelins. You have the skinny guy, the big guy, the average guy, and the storm javelin. You're basically a mage in an Iron Man suit. I spec'd out my javelin to be very lightning themed. In the end, my javelin felt like my javelin. So I think BioWare really nailed that in the head. As for the rest of it, there could have been some improvements for sure. I think a lot of fans of BioWare went into Anthem expecting the multiplayer shenanigans, but held out hope this would be another great example of BioWare storytelling. Instead, we found choices that didn't amount to anything. Shallow characters, a shallow world, and a very bland main character, which blows my mind even now. You had the creators of Mass Effect and Dragon Age, which at the time showcased strong storytelling and characters. But with Anthem, I feel like my javelin had more personality than the person I was actually playing. Then you had this new multiplayer audience that were looking to give Anthem a try. In that arena, I think BioWare's inexperience kind of worked against them. Which is a shame because I think they really wanted and planned for Anthem to be the next major franchise. Look at the studio intros for all 3 franchises. That uniformity, that clean consistency in design, the similarity. It really feels like the team wanted Anthem, Mass Effect, and Dragon Age to be the Triforce of BioWare. But even here, we can see one of the major problems with Anthem. In the intros for Dragon Age and Mass Effect, you're seeing a great display of all the characters involved with the game. When you get to Anthem, you just have yourself. Despite the hardship, you still have people, or you still had people, playing this game years after the studio packed up its bags and moved on to the great financial masterpiece that was Dragon Age the Veilguard. That is because the game had solid gameplay, the flying was well loved, and Anthem had potential like you wouldn't believe. Oh my god, the potential. The lore of this universe could literally wipe the slate clean and clear a path to a more focused and improved Anthem 2.0. But BioWare never went that way. They made a different choice. A choice that everyone is kind of suffering the consequences for. And I think out of everything, that is what Anthem will be most remembered for. Not the flying, not the development drama, not the post-launch hardships. Not what Anthem was, but rather what Anthem could have been. I am going to greatly miss flying that javelin. Even though I've hardly touched it in some years. Unfortunately, it took the service to shut down for me to get back into it again, but I am greatly going to miss flying around in that thing. But it is what it is, and we can only move forward. So, goodbye Anthem. It was fun while it lasted. Here's hoping EA and BioWare do something smart and take that flying mechanic and put it into something new. Or they won't. Again, that is another choice they have to make. Until then though, to all of you, be safe, be well, and be kind. Bye bye.